Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by. Welcome to the 2022 Project Orchids final look, and we're on to plant number 2 now. This would have been the second plant in group 1, but I'm doing them as individual plants. So same format as plant number 1. We will dig out the clips from March, May, July, September, and I will film the plant as it is today, and we'll discuss how it's done over the season. Have I achieved my goals, my expectations and all that sort of stuff, or failed miserably? It does happen. Wait and see. But anyway, we'll have a look at this plant number 2, and thanks for joining me in the Project Orchids final look. Okay, plant number 2 is an Aliciara, so one of the something in the Oncidium alliance this time, an Intergeneric. What went into this? I haven't got a clue. And the chances are it would be difficult to find out, and I just can't be bothered. All I know is that it's an Intergeneric. It may have Oncidium in it, I don't know, but with the classifications of so many in the Oncidium alliance, names like Aliciara might not even be true anymore, because if a component part has been reclassified, then the name doesn't work, because it becomes meaningless. But it's an Intergeneric, that's all I need to know. And I've been trying to rescue this plant for about 3 years, which is why I've picked on it, because it does look like it's responding at long last. Now, what we've got are some reasonably plump bulbs, many leaves, and quite a few new growths. If you look round the back of the plant, there's 2 new growths there. And coming round here, we've got another new growth pushing on quite nicely. And then right up the side here, we have another one. So we've got 4 new growths on this plant at the moment, and those will produce roots. And therein lies something that must be done this time round. The moss is old and tired and is zombie moss. Therefore, after the age that this has been on this mount, that zombie moss has gone off. It's probably quite acidic. Now, luckily, it dries fast because it's on a mount, so it can't be doing as much damage to the root system as it would be in a pot. Nonetheless, the new roots that are going to come from these new growths, I want in some new live moss. So I will be doing some work on this plant. I will leave it on its mount, probably, decision not made yet, and I will tease all of this old moss off and then surround the base of the plant, up in between the pseudo bulbs, round the back with some nice live moss strapped on in such a way that the roots will go straight into it. So that's the plan for this one, and I really would like to see some blooms from at least one of these new growths. As I say, it hasn't been doing very well for some time now. Hopefully this is the year it picks up and gets going again. So plans for this one: deal with the moss, set up a decent base for the new roots to get into with live moss, and get this one to grow and hopefully to bloom. So that's plant number 2. Okay, plant number 2 in group 1 is the Aliciara, and in March I decided that I was going to do something about the old moss on here and either take it off its mount and remount it, or do something with it. And have we done it? No. Not a light. However, getting it down to film it now will make me do it, because I'd forgotten, basically. It had just slipped my mind. So what we've got here is all of the new growths are progressing nicely now. These were the 2 little ones up the back. They've pushed on nicely. I'll have to pick this up, I think that's the easiest way. And then coming round the front, we've got another one that pushed out there. I don't think that one was there last time round. The larger one at the front is pushing on, and then there's the one tucked in behind there. So we had 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we have now got 5, so we've grown another one. But the most important thing, if you look carefully, the new roots are just starting. Yeah, at the base of the new, or at least at the base of those two new growths. That means roots on all of these new growths are imminent. Yeah? So whatever I'm going to do with this, now is the time. And then those new roots will progress into whatever I choose to put them and acclimatise accordingly. So at this particular point with those nice plump bulbs, what I do with the old root system won't make a lot of difference to the plant, because it's going to get new roots on all of these new growths. And hopefully the next goal is to do what I'm supposed to do with this and get these roots into something, and then hopefully get some blooms on one of these growths. We'll see how it goes, but at least it's growing. Well, sometimes I do actually crack on with the things I say I'm going to do. So this was on a mount last time we saw it, and it's been unmounted and put in a pot. The idea is that it didn't seem to be growing as well as it should on the mount, but nonetheless it had a good number of new growths which have now got new media. It's a combination of bark and chopped Welsh moss. So the new growths are pushing on okay. We've got one here, one in the middle of the plant there, another one here, another one here, and another one there. They're pushing on okay. I don't see roots getting to the edge of the pot yet, but it hasn't been done long. So basically all I hope now is that these growths produce roots and add to the roots that it already had, which weren't brilliant, but they were there, to get a much better root system and make the plant stronger. And hopefully one of these new growths might actually produce a spike, and then we get to see the blooms on this for the first time in a very, very, very long time. This hasn't bloomed for years. So that's my hopes for this one. Nice mature bulbs, decent root system, and the possibility of a spike on one of those new growths. So let's hope. So the hopes and dreams for plant number 2 have not been fulfilled. Basically, taking this off the mount and putting it in a pot was a sound idea. Nothing wrong with the idea, it just wasn't doing that well on a mount. And as there were plenty of new growths growing, it seemed like a good time to get it in a pot, hoping for a new root system on these new growths. Well, we didn't get one. We didn't get the new root system, and the new growth stalled in most cases basically, and therefore didn't bloom. I would say they didn't stall far off full size, but they didn't mature properly, like you take that little one there. So they also didn't produce a dramatic root system either. There are some roots in the pot, but what they've decided to do now is produce another lot of new growths. So we've got more new growths coming now. So I'm going to apply the same hopes, dreams and wishes to the latest set of new growths. My mouth won't work. I can see 4. I mean, you can see 3 there. There's one towards the left, one on the right hand bulb, tucked on the left hand side of it, and one back in the plant. So there's 3 from that view. And then if you twist round here, there's another 2 there. So we've got 5 new growths coming. I suspect we've got a new growth on the 5 new growths we had last time. So it didn't do what I wanted, but it may well do it this time round, and that's all I can hope for. These new growths have pushed on relatively soon. This plant used to have quite a rest. But so all I can do now is hope that these new growths push on and mature with enough strength in the plant to decide to bloom again. That'll be the day. I've had this years and it hasn't bloomed since I got it, I don't think. I may have had one bloom, one spike since I got it. I got it a very, very long time ago. I mean, there are some roots in the pot, but it's not what I call a root system. So anyway, we'll just have to hope that, that this latest set of growths pushes on. I doubt if they'll push on and bloom by the time we get to the final update in November, but who knows? We'll take a look and see. So that's what that one's up to. Okay, so as we are in November then, for this plant it's not been a successful season. It's still alive and it's still growing, but very, very slowly. And, you know, it's had a lot to contend with, basically, you know, with house moves, environments and potting and all sorts of stuff. But nonetheless, it has produced some new growths and they are very, very slowly pushing on. Because of the fact that it's actually stalled, I would class this as a stalled plant. It's going on the sulky bench so it can sit there and sulk as long as it likes. I do believe that when this plant starts to grow again, which might be a new set of growths, it might be the ones that are there just pick up, who knows, maybe a combination of the two, but I think next time round it's going to do much better because it will have acclimatized. It will have got used to where it is now, it will have got used to the media it's now in, and it should progress. I mean, these new growths haven't pushed on that much since last time, but then, you know, we're shorter days, lower temperatures. I don't think the lower temperatures would do this much harm, because looking at the shape of the blooms, I would relatively safely say there's a fair bit of Odontoglossum mixed up in here. And as such, it's a cooler grower anyway. So who knows, maybe the next season will be the one where this one shines. We can always hope, can't we? I've been hoping this one was going to do well for long enough. I suppose waiting a bit longer is not the end of the world. But I wouldn't class this as a major success. But in the big scheme of things, it is. Because it's been trying to recover itself for 3 years plus. This is probably its 4th year coming up now. And it is slowly but surely making progress. It's just not as quick as the type of plant it is should be making. It should be making quicker progress. But at least it's making some. It's not going downhill, it's not dying. So that's always a bonus. So anyway. Plant number 2 in the 2022 Project Orchids, and plant number 3 will come soon. They're going to come relatively close together, unlike the original Project Orchids 2 monthly updates, because I only had 3 to do, whereas this time I've got 9 plants to do, and this is only number 2. So there we go. So there we go, that was plant number 2, Oncidium intergeneric of loose description. I suppose it would be possible to find out what the makeup is, but I suspect there's been reclassification, so personally I just don't see the point. So we now have a plant that I would call sulking. It has not progressed at the rate I would have expected, but there again, I moved house. I've got a total change of environment, and the plant was taken off a mount and put in a pot. You'd probably sulk if you'd had that treatment as well. Well, hopefully in the future it will pick up, because the blooms on it are absolutely gorgeous, and that's the only reason it stays. So thanks for dropping by and all that stuff, and if you're not subscribed, it would be nice if you did so, and the old thumbs up does the world of good as well, and I will see you for plant number 3 in the not too distant future. Thanks for dropping by.